Welcome to Cut Daisies and Unicorns. And we're back, and we have a studio guest. No, we don't have a studio guest.
Well, we have a guest on the show.
We have a guest, just not in studio.
No, in Zoom. Did you ever watch that PBS TV show, Zoom? We're gonna zoom on Zoom.
I did not.
Oh, man, that was before your time. It was airing during the same time that Sesame Street was airing. Well, Sesame Street still airs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's on HBO
It's on HBO.
or something like that. I don't know.
Wow.
Who knows?
Oh, man. All of that. Who knows? Yeah, so we do.
I know that they air it there at least, but
We have a special guest, Adam Bugos. And Adam, for those who have been listening to the show consistently, know that Adam has consistently listened to the podcast and is a huge fan of the Beards. And he really likes to, he likes what's going on. And,
Right.
you know, and so, like, if people are like, what does it take to be a guest? Well, actually, it's really driven by your calendar and your schedule of availability. I believe Adam is our first guest on season 4.
right.
We haven't had,
We
you know,
didn't have one for season 3,
no, we did, I think.
did we?
Maybe we didn't.
I don't remember now.
I'll have to go through. But we do, we have, until Adam gets and is able to join us, we have several things that we want to, just take care of, common cultural courtesies.
Right.
Want to go on the record if you're like, man, Steve, you sound like you could sing some Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Love
You really
is
do.
a burning flame. And
That's
so
a low register there.
Oh man, my low register is so awesome right now, because when I actually went to Michigan, and that's why everything got muffed up for the recording on Sunday. Is it was just a lot of back and forth and all the different things going on. I'm texting you in the middle of the viewing time and stuff like that, and be like, hey, we did all the work, pre-work, and then the one little detail that I didn't finish up was create the Facebook events.
Right.
It's like 3 clicks away, and it's already done and set to go. And so then Sunday, home Saturday night, in Sunday, and all that stuff. And I literally fell asleep at 7:30 on Sunday evening. Or maybe earlier than that, because I missed the 7 o'clock showing. And when I woke up, then I posted it at 10:30 p.m. And oh my gosh. And so,
Hey, stuff happens.
yeah, stuff does happen. I mean, we're definitely letting people know that we have a lot of our humanity we're in touch with. Yeah. And so
We fully embrace it.
Then Monday, I thought, I'm going to just stay home and edit videos. And so I edited videos and was doing that, and then got into a little bit of a domestic Monday instead of domestic Tuesday. And then Tuesday morning when I woke up, I had this tight restriction on my throat and itchy, scratchy, all that stuff. I came into the studio, worked around the studio and stuff like that, but I had this dry cough. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Did Rona show up? What about the -19? COVID. Oh my God, I'm dying of COVID. I'm like, dear Lord, are you really going to take me right now? Oh my word. Now, my Uncle Gary passed from COVID in 11 days.
Right.
And so, like, that's in the back of my mind going through all of this stuff. And I'm like, oh my word. And so I had a conversation with Amy in regards to not feeling well. And by the time it was Tuesday evening and she walked in the door from work and stuff, she looked at me and she's like, what is the matter with you? And I'm like, yeah, I might have COVID. She's like, oh my gosh. So that was
So she went and put on her mask and
no,
quarantined you.
no. She figured. I mean, there had been enough social interaction between us in regards to the last 24 hours that she's like, yeah, if I'm getting it from you, I already got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hugs and kisses.
It's true.
Um,
It does. It happens exactly that way.
and so then I'm on Wednesday and I'm feeling like a pile. And so I just laid on the couch and watched pretty much a whole season of Blacklist yesterday. And
Did you get caught up?
I'm still not in the new season yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm getting really close though. I'm on episode 5 of season 8 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, since I researched what's really going on in Blacklist via the interwebs,
Yeah.
and since I know where season 9's going, it's really a sad commentary that spoiler alerts. But when you know how it's been spoiled, you know what to look for. And as the conversations are unfolding, you're like, I see what he's doing there. I see what she's doing there. I see what they're doing there. Yeah. But yeah, then about, got up and cleaned all the dishes in the sink. I'm like, I don't want any blood clots from just laying on the couch I mean, like my head's just, in a bad space. I'm like,
Right.
I'm dying of coronavirus, -19's overcome me. And it all surrounds travel.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I didn't feel well was when I took the trip to Atlanta. This time
That's true.
it's when, I drive into Michigan.
Uh-huh.
And so like, all right. But then I'm like, hey, I'm going to go down. And I didn't have any cough medicine. I didn't have any cough drop. Literally, Phil, I have not been sick for over 2.5 years.
I know.
And so like, it's this reintroduction. And so typically the stuff that I got, I would get at Gloria Day twice a year, like clockwork. It's the change. It's what's going on in the air gets into my lungs. And I mean, like at the walk-in clinic, I just walk in. They're like, what's the matter? I said, the same thing that happened last fall. Can you just give me a Z-Pack and some prednisone?
Right.
I'm going to be good to go. By the way, I need to work this weekend. And they would do it, and it would dry me up, and it would, and just boom, down the road. Now, my thought process is totally different right now. I figure if I haven't been sick, I'm like sending a 4-year-old to kindergarten. I mean, the 4-year-old hasn't been exposed to all of the diseases that are going to happen in school, right?
Right.
So then all of kindergarten and all of first grade is usually the introduction of all of these common diseases.
Every sickness.
Yeah, illness.
They're a cesspool.
Yeah. I mean, so you got these kids chewing on these little rubber balls and they're sharing it with one another and stuff like that. And you wonder, why in the world is this kid's nose running all the time? Well, for the record, the kid's nose running is not coronavirus.
Right.
It's just the common cold. It's snot and snort. It just is all these things. So I just want to let people know that we continue. We are somewhat socially distanced.
We are.
And if and when I cough, I'm gonna cough into my elbow, and
It's good practice.
but I went to Walgreens and got all dosed up. I mean, so I got Dayquil, and that's another like Steve-O go-to. You got the Dayquil, NyQuil packs.
Yep.
And I get that. Now it does say, because there's acetaminophen, you have to be careful of liver damage.
Oh.
So I was actually taking Tylenol with that. So I read the directions this morning. I'm like, oh, I need to back that off. And you're not supposed to drink more than 3 drinks while you're on that medication because you could do damage to your liver. And there's no need to
damage it all.
Accelerate any liver damage that is occurring.
Right.
And so with all of that going on and being said,
So did you do some zinc too and
I did.
vitamin C drops? And
I
No?
haven't done that. You know what I did that really made a difference the first night?
Yeah.
I made a homemade hot toddy minus the whiskey. I didn't have any whiskey in the house. Felt like crap. Didn't feel like going out and getting any. But I made a lemon toddy. So slice a lemon, hot water, steep that so that the oils of the lemon get out into the water, mold it a little bit, punched it down and stirred it up and
Sure.
stuff. Then I took about a half a teaspoon of ginger, ground ginger from my spices rack,
Yeah.
and then about a half a teaspoon of turmeric. Stirred that in there and figured, you know what? I threw it out to the universe. I'm like, I'm not really sure what this shit's going to do, but I'm looking for some healing. Can you bring it on?
Right.
Yeah.
Did you ever take those, the ones that I gave you from Costco?
No, they're in my car.
Yeah, you should mix one of those in. I mean, they have zinc and they have vitamin C. It's just a boost of zinc and vitamin C.
All right.
It's a take on emergency. So
Yes.
the emergency, if you're familiar, hashtag not a sponsor.
Still, we have no sponsors.
And but that one is meant to kind of boost the immune system.
Yeah.
So I usually I've been doing that, a healthy mix of that in my vitamin diet anyways. Even if I haven't felt ill, I'm like, I'm gonna take one of these, throw it in there,
Yeah.
mix it up. I mean,
Yeah.
they taste pretty good too. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
And what did Micah tell us the other day?
magnesium.
Magnesium,
I think.
yeah.
Which I haven't mixed in yet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Well, I got all these vitamins. So that's the surefire sign of an Enneagram 9. It's like, well, how hard could that be? Well, it's not hard. You just have to walk over. Yeah. So I definitely I toddied it up last night and had some NyQuil, been sleeping sitting up. Well, I mean, in my head I'm just like, well, this is like sleeping in a recliner, not fully reclined. You just have your legs out there and you're standing, you're sitting up, and that way my head doesn't get all pounded full and stuff like that. But man, when your sinuses are so full
yeah.
that like water's creeping out of your eyes and you don't feel sad, it's like, man, that is not good. And people are like, are you sure? Are you sure you should even be doing this right now? Well, the answer is that there are only so many hours left before I leave the state of Illinois again.
Right.
And so the reality is we got to shoot a couple episodes and get things all loaded up and on and going and stuff like that. So the answer is yes. Yes, I am sure. And that's
Right.
the deal.
You're going to power through for our listening audience.
Well, here's the deal. I don't have any chills.
Right.
I'm like my skin is healthy to touch. Like it's not like I'm clammy
There's no
or,
clams.
I don't have like any sense of like being feverish or anything like that. I figure, hold up, we could Google that.
Which one?
Common cold infectious. Oh, there we go. Oh, well, apparently I'm still infectious. The common cold is infectious from a few days before your symptoms appear until all the symptoms are gone. Most people will be infectious for around 2 weeks.
No.
Symptoms are usually worse during the first 2 to 3 days, and this is when you're most likely to spread the virus. Well, Phil,
Hey.
I'm sorry.
It happens. I'll just go and take some emergency after we're done and
Yeah. So
zinc it up and vitamin C up. And yeah, I got vitamin C drops too. So
all right.
yeah. So either way, like, I mean, now when you get into contact with more people, I mean, it was really nice not being sick for 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I had a cold not long ago, but now I think we'll just power through.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're going to get some episodes done today. And because we've got Thanksgiving next week, which is the reason why you're traveling.
It is.
And it's
Part
partly the
of it.
reason why I'm traveling, but, also for a wedding. But
Yeah. You get to go to Florida.
get to go to Florida.
Florida man.
Yeah, Florida man. I mean, like, I don't even know. I have to look at the weather and find, like, do I wear shorts in Florida in this season? Is it shorts weather there? I don't even know.
I think it could be.
Yeah.
If you want it to be.
Right.
You're probably acclimated to the cooler weather here, and so even if the weather down there is somewhat cool, it's still warmer. And you're always hot-blooded anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
Usually warm.
How many days are you going to be in there?
Let's see. We get there Tuesday night and come back Friday.
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday.
So,
One pair of shorts
yeah.
and a swimsuit.
I don't usually like swimming in the ocean.
But
I mean, I have, and I usually will go, even if we used to go to San Diego quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I would, and we were there for usually about a week, and I would go into the ocean once. I'm like, so you guys pick the day. I'm going to go in once.
Wow,
and it was usually for some, extended amount of hours.
Yeah.
And if we went to the beach after that, then it was always like, all right, I'm going to sit on the beach. I'm either going to read or I'm just going to sit here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I usually go in once, but I don't even know. So we'll see. The wedding's on Wednesday. We've got Thanksgiving on Thursday, so we're going to do kind of a collective Thanksgiving there with the group that's down there. And
Nice.
yeah.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, Foxy's been she's been on our live shows before,
Yep.
like attended. So Foxy's getting married.
To McFly, right?
McFly.
Yeah. I love their nicknames. That's great. Marty.
Marty.
Which is different than Morty.
We're going back to the future.
The resurgence of the DeLorean. All of a sudden.
Right.
It's a fast track. Yeah. So if anybody's wondering, I've made this commitment that no harm is being done to a Pastor Phil during the shooting of this episode.
Right. I'm not feeling abused by any means.
Okay. All right.
Because we have the ability to try to shoot this podcast while we're in different locations with the technology of Zoom, but it wouldn't be easy.
Or the same.
Right. Or
Yeah.
the same, obviously.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it is possible, but with the, with the ADEM and trying to be able to, it makes it easier, when we're in the same space. But, yeah. So if it so happens that somewhere down the line that we are having those same issues, we will be getting back to you and saying, hey, everybody, here's the new way we're going to shoot this week, but not today. Not today. Not today, Common Cold. You're not going to interrupt us. All right, everybody, we are here, and this is season 4, like middle of season 4, and we haven't had a guest on in a little while, and today we have, like, I would even call, like, he was a fan. He's been on the comments section of the YouTube videos, and he enjoys beards.
Dude is the OG
right
when it comes to fandom.
But we're really happy to be able to have Adam on today. And so, should I switch there now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
right.
do that. And
so then you can switch.
And now, Adam, it's they get to see you in all of your like bearded glory right now.
Right.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a wonderful intro.
Right. So it's great to have you on the show today, Adam. And So we have some topics that we're going to get to, but it's always a good thing because there's probably some people who are watching or listening who do not know who you are. And so I want you to give us a breakdown of who Adam is. So you tell the listener who you are.
Well, I was told we have 30 minutes, so I'm going to keep this short. I am the husband of Steve's daughter. We got married, May?
Yeah.
Just a nice little reception a couple weeks ago. I would pull her in. She's not here today. She's off doing business. She's a little businesswoman. So we live in Des Moines, actually 3-4 blocks from where Steve and his wife lived before they moved. Pretty simple guy. I think you'll learn more about me here in a few minutes. Yeah, that's me. In the beer business. We could get into that another podcast. I'd love to talk to you.
Hey, you know what? That'd be a great repeat. Is to get you in. We'll do a topic of beers with Adam.
Right. Beers with Adam.
I'm down. Let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, have you always been in Des Moines? Where have you been?
I'm from the Quad Cities.
Okay.
It's 4, obviously. Bettendorf, Davenport, Rock Island, and Moline. It's right on the Mississippi if people aren't familiar with that. But I'm from Bettendorf, Iowa. Moved here last July with Michaela, my wife, and I love it. Before meeting her, I never thought I would ever move from there because my entire family is still there. Which, nothing against them for that, but I'm very happy that we moved and might be moving again soon, so we don't know. But Michaela has definitely opened my eyes to just like the world in general, because I always thought that my whole world was the Quad Cities. So when we moved, I met so many different new people and really enjoyed that. So, and Des Moines is a great place. If you're listening and thinking about it, do it because Des Moines is great. But
we could talk.
Again, so.
We could talk for 30 minutes just about Des Moines and how awesome Des Moines is as a city, and great nesting place for artists, musicians, families. It's great school systems. I mean, in comparison across the nation, we'd have to Google that shit to figure it out. But anyway, so Adam approached me. He's like, dude, I'd really like to get on the podcast and talk about the Denver airport.
Right.
I'm like, well, what's the big deal about the Denver airport?
Uh-huh.
And Phil's done a little research too. So right. I'm
well,
just...
you had brought it up one time. You're like, yeah, Adam wants to come on and talk about Denver airport. And I'm like, okay, like, I mean, and then I was just like, that's fine. But it wasn't until, so Caitlin, my daughter, was flying out to Seattle, Washington, Tacoma, whatever area.
To see Harry Styles in concert,
and it was when she was coming back that she had a layover in Denver.
Yeah.
And I just said, hey, well, let's just look it up so you know what it looks like. I mean, and so then I type in, like, Denver airport. I mean, and that's when all of this, I was like, oh, like, this is the reason why we're going to talk about the Denver airport. Like, and so I just kind of scratched the surface on it, but I'm sure there's a ton more of things that are happening at the Denver airport.
So, Adam, what sucked you in about the Denver airport, and why don't you let our listeners know why the airport and its story is intriguing to you?
So, I've been onto this since my junior year of high school. I had a teacher at the time who was into those, and I'm a private, high school, and he was. I wouldn't say he wasn't an outcast teacher, but people looked at him like, who are you? Like, why are you teaching this? And we would watch videos and movies about, like, the 9/11 conspiracy. And looking at that, I don't know if we should have been exposed to that at that age. But I did a report on, I'm just Googling, like, hey, what are some famous conspiracy theories? And I had to scroll for this. And there's so much about it that people, like, don't know. And if you go there, you'll learn that, or you'll walk in there with an eerie feeling. Like, I'll go to any other airport, and I'm like, this is just a normal airport. And I go there, and I'm like, there is something behind this that I need to know about, and I'm happy to talk about it today because there's something about it, guys. I'm telling you.
So tell everyone what is the underlying conspiracy about the Denver airport? I mean, give them some historic background of what's going on there.
Well, it was built in the later '90s, and what intrigued me from the beginning was there's a perfectly good airport like 20 miles away. And Steve, you know me, I'm very
Pragmatic.
conservative person with my money, and I'm like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why build a was it three? It was originally $3 billion to build, and it ended up being, excuse me, it ended up being $5 billion, and it was a year and a half later than what it was supposed to open. Plus, the new airport in Denver right now, at the time, and I'm pretty sure this is still the case, it has less capacity than the previous airport that they built. So what's the point of building another one? I don't understand. And I'll get into more if you'd like about why this is just insane to me, why you'd spend that much money on a new airport. But that'll come with a couple minutes. I'll get really into it. But that was what intrigued me, because when I talk money, I'm like, why spend it on this when you don't need to?
Right.
Oh my gosh.
'Cause
So,
the-
I
so-
mean, this is the second time that Adam has let us on. It's like he's actually listened to podcasts about conspiracies. And so then what he's doing is like, I'll get into it in a couple minutes. I feel like we should show like some kind of not a sponsor video ad right now, and then we come back and we recap. Now everyone, to build the suspense, do you realize how much money $5 billion is? And who builds an airport, spends $5 billion for less capacity of what your flight and in and out was in years past at an airport 20 miles close.
Right.
I mean, it literally, it's a 20-minute trip.
It is like, I mean, it's one of the largest airports like in the world. I think. I mean, it's like number 3 or something. Isn't that?
But it's still smaller than the other airport that's right there 20 miles away. That's the idiocracy of the whole thing. Hey, Adam, do you know anything like on the financials with that? Do you know anything about how much was from the city of Denver that they paid of the $5 billion versus the federal government and that money that could come in?
Subsidized. Was it any of it? Yeah.
I don't. I should, because I am the numbers guy, but I do not know. I just think it's all a sham, and they're covering up something, and I think us three need to get to the bottom of it. Maybe take a trip there and just investigate.
Well, I think you're going to have a little bit higher clearance.
CDU on tour.
I mean, like, yeah. Which I do think that as we're traveling more, we need to pull our phones out and like do a little like looky look around and do some talking that we can interject into our podcast. But
yeah.
So in the conspiracy about the Denver airport, I still don't even know what the conspiracy is.
Well, glad you asked. So apart from the building the new one, there's multiple things that I am just like, why? So throughout the airport, and I'm not sure, when we went there 2 months ago, and I looked and I didn't see, there's a lot of and before I even get into that, so I like to believe in Occam's razor, right? The whatever, like the easiest explanation, or the explanation that would obviously come to mind, is the reason why, right? So it's some of the research showed me that if you go through there, there's like when you pull in, you see this huge, they call it it's a blue Mustang, basically. It's like this huge, it's made out of fiberglass, this thousands of pound statue, right? That's one piece of art. There used to be 2 pieces of art that resembled like a New World Order, which is something that I was unfamiliar with, really, because I just hope we don't get to that at any point. But there were 2 pieces of art, and it showed some children that were happy, some were crying. There was like this guy that he reminded me of like a soldier in like the New World Order, right? Those aren't there anymore for some reason. There's other things, like there's little symbols in the ground that again, Occam's razor, people are like, oh no, this is one side, this is the other side, that resemble gold and silver for the gold rush. I guess was there a gold rush in Denver? I thought it was on the West Coast, but
Oh, you know what? There's been gold all over the U.S. And since I am a fan of Gold Rush, Whitewater Gold, and Bering Sea Gold, I've seen all the episodes. So I can talk to you about gold in the future. We'll not talk about it. But the answer is, was there gold in Colorado? There was gold in them Dare Hills. Yep.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad we all need to.
Hey, we established that.
Gold is going up. Crypto and gold. Buy gold now. A few other things. I guess when they were building it, they built multiple buildings underground, which I would figure multiple buildings underground would just be basements. But I guess they just covered them up for reasons I don't understand. And then there's some other things like the runways are in the symbol of a swastika. You kind of have to look at it, but it definitely is. There is, when they first built it, they wanted to be like this new technology with your luggage, and then go underground, and it just come up through these tunnels, and then go to your right terminal. You go right up into the flight, and off you go. Well, that never really worked. So, and they never tried to really fix it. So I'm like, all these for what? Well, like, if you're gonna build this, why wouldn't you fix it? I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's broken, fix it. You spent all these billions of dollars to do something to make it the state of the art airport, and it doesn't work. What do you mean? Why are we doing this? Gosh, I am trying to think of some other things that pop out at me. There's some other small things that I'm like, I don't really. I'm a conspiracy theorist in the sense that if there's a little bit, I'm gonna look into it, but if there's a lot bit, I'm gonna believe it. So
yeah.
So more evidence means there's probably like smoke, fire, right? Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, have you heard anything with the Masons and kind of that being involved with this as well? Have you?
I heard that term a little bit through research, but I don't know anything about that. I can't go into detail there. I don't want to lie to the people. I'm not a liar.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
No misrepresentation.
For the record, Adam is saying that with the Freemasons or the Masons, a secret society,
right?
Which, based on the short little read that I'm doing right now, there's a question about these underground bunkers as being a place of safety for the social elite.
Yeah.
And that takes us back to our conspiracy theory in regards to, in California, the group of people under the redwoods. I'm trying to think of which, the Bohemian group.
Oh, the Bohemian group.
Yeah. Right. And so,
well, people pulling strings behind the scenes, pulling strings.
Yeah.
Which would go towards what Adam was talking about with the New World Order. And that there still is people who are talking about secret groups who are still trying to, kind of bring everything to a centralized system of government. People are trying to let's make sure that all of this is orchestrated in a direction that we want it to go. And so that's the reason why when you're looking at, you already mentioned gold and crypto. So crypto, right, has no centralized system. It's all controlled by the people who have it. Since there is no banking system for it. And so that's a reason why people, I think, are trying to get more into crypto, because it's not centralized. Because there's no banking system that's going to have ultimately somebody else who is pulling the strings. So I can see where that's coming into play a little bit as well. And it's funny that you mentioned the artwork that you said was there but is now no longer there. So were there people who were looking at this artwork and saying, well, I think you're pointing us in a direction, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, maybe that's too much, let's pull it away.
So, and that's the Nazi
no, that's
artwork?
no, that was you mentioned it, where it was kids who were both laughing and crying.
It was so weird. It was like they were all at like a table, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
and there was like this. It looked like a Nazi soldier behind him, and he had a big knife. That was something. But real quick, back to the crypto. I'm not a financial advisor. I buy $20 of Bitcoin every single day. By the end of the year, it's going to be $100,000 of Bitcoin. So, continue.
No, hold it. Wait.
Right. Crypto mining is huge. Right
Hold the bus. And I have to find what there. Now I can see you. You buy $20 of crypto a day.
Of Bitcoin.
Okay. You buy $20 of Bitcoin a day or a week?
A day.
$20 of Bitcoin a day.
Yes.
And so compounded, since I'm not the math guy, but I mean, basically you're saying that $20 times 365, so you're investing $7,300, and you're saying that that's going to be valued at over 100,000.
Hold. One Bitcoin by the end of the year will be $100,000. I will not have that. My family will not have that. I am my family.
Right.
I think it's smart. I really do. I think, like Phil was saying, there's less strings to pull with that. I know the value of the dollar is going through the floor, right. So we gotta diversify. Kind of like gold in Denver by the airport.
The gold standard.
Yeah. So you're saying that $20 a day will have you at 100,000 by the end of the year, or no?
No.
He's just saying one Bitcoin would be worth 100,000.
Yeah, I checked on Bitcoin last night, just arbitrarily, because I was looking through my Venmo account.
Mm-hmm.
The value of Bitcoin right now is $60K.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you're saying that in the next 6 weeks it's going to go to 100K.
That's what. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take tips from me. But
that is the disclaimer.
That's what I think, and it's going to happen at some point. If it doesn't happen in December, it's going to happen at some point in early 2022.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, crypto is exploding right now. So
on all levels.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of them that are, of course, like, just starting out.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're not worth a lot, but people are still buying it up for the sake of saying, I mean, look at Bitcoin. I mean, what's the one that Elon Musk has?
He gave, well, he's flip flop, but it was Bitcoin that he was going to say, hey, you can.
I didn't think he was Bitcoin though.
Oh.
He had Dogecoin for a while. I don't know if that was him.
Yes, that was the one.
Which
Dogecoin.
One? Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one that he put $1 billion or something in, or not. Maybe it wasn't that much, but
yeah.
Tweeting about any stock or any crypto just shoots it through the moon too.
Right. And that was the thing, is that people weren't sure if when he was talking about Bitcoin and everything, whether he was high. Just smoking way too much weed at the time he was tweeting stuff out, or and then he's backpedaled off of Bitcoin. Jim Cramer sold Bitcoin at the last 60K peak and sold enough of what he had gathered up to be able to pay off his house, and then it went for a big dip, and now it's rolling back up. It's things like that. But take me back to. So now, do you have a one of those fobs where you plug it in and you've got your keychain so that as you're buying it, then it's all safe and nobody can access your money?
I trust people, so no, I don't think they will. To be honest, no idea what you're talking about. I just use an app to do it.
You do what?
There's an app.
On my phone.
Oh.
Well, it's recurring every day, so.
Okay. All right. So Adam is one of the investors into crypto who doesn't use any ways to scramble, and he uses the app, and he trusts people. I'm just putting that out there. You know what, Adam? That's a breath of fresh air. I'm so glad. Hey, everybody listen to Cut Daisies and Unicorns. We have found a person
Mm-hmm.
who trusts people.
Trust people. That's good.
That's me. This isn't a this I guess this is a free ad. I just use the Cash App. It's really easy.
Mhm.
Cash App, if you're listening, please sponsor. We can talk numbers later. But can we real quick get back to my
Yeah.
final?
You
my
got
final.
you got a final. We're at your final right now.
Well, it's like the big thing for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The Denver airport. Okay. So through my research, well, actually, for the longest time, was it the Mayans who were saying that the world's going to end in 2012?
Right. Yep.
All my research, every article about the Denver airport was after 2012. Why? Why wasn't anybody looking into this before 2012? Because was everybody in on it thinking that the world was going to end in 2012?
Huh.
Why? I don't. That's another why. I don't.
So do you think that the underground tunnels were then supposed to be used for, like keeping people safe from the end of the world?
Some were saying that the tunnels go up through the mountains like 120 miles. So maybe we should look into what's under these mountains. That, by the way, mountains beautiful. First time saw them a few weeks ago. The real deal. But what's under those too? That's another topic for another day. But
yeah, there was in a brief article that I had pulled up. There was another question in regards to where the tunnels went to, and I thought it was saying New Orleans, but it's the New World Order. It keeps coming up, and so we got Freemasonry, we got the New World Order, and then the other thing is if you look at an aerial shot of the Denver airport, some people feel that it's in the shape of a swastika.
Right, which is what he mentioned. Yeah. So there was the whole thing, aerial perspective on it.
Yeah.
And it definitely when you look at the shape, you can see how, I mean, like, that's not just a made up thing either. I mean, there's a definite shape to the way that the whole system is.
Yeah. So you're saying 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar, the end of the world, the end of the earth, and what year was the Denver airport completed in?
95, I believe.
Oh, so they were working toward it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to know, am I, like, if the world ended, would I be able to get in there to the tunnels?
No.
Do I have to cut?
No, you would not.
But I have all this crypto to my name. What do you mean? I'm rich.
Well, I'm telling you, you won't make it because you're not part of a secret society unless you are, and you're not telling us because it's a secret.
It could be a secret.
This is a way of deflecting from this, trying to, like, a lot of these articles that I read, people are like, oh, it's this is an explanation. What are you hiding?
Right.
Like, can I read something real quick?
Yeah.
This is about those buildings I was talking. Let's see. She said the airport was being built, or while it was being built, there were 5 buildings that were built below, but for some reason needed to be abandoned. Instead of destroying them, other infrastructure was built on top, leading many to wonder just what might be going on in those buildings underneath the ground level. Oh yeah, we're just going to build 5 buildings, and we don't really need them. Let's just bury them.
No.
Right.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
No. That's why I would really, if you're talking about $5 billion, I don't know a city, or like, actually it blew my mind when I moved to Chicago. What's the Chicago city budget? Is it $2 billion a year?
Yeah, it's something.
And like, I knew that when we were talking about, like, in Des Moines being a capital in the state, I mean, I think that Des Moines as, like, in that area, like, I think it's in the millions, but it just blew my mind that the infrastructure with police and parks and all this stuff is like $2 billion. But you're telling me Denver has the capacity to blow a $5 billion expense? And, like, who's making that up? All the tourists coming in buying weed?
I've got I'm your Jamie to your Joe Rogan. The $16.7 billion budget in this city by Mayor Lori Lightfoot. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, 16 billion.
That's nuts.
Yeah. It's a
So
lot.
you could build 3 Denver airports in your city.
I already got an O'Hare.
Yeah, you do.
And there is a below the city already. Like you can when you guys come to Chicago and visit, we can take the underground tour, and I mean, like it's a thing. It's not uncommon in large cities. When we were in Seattle has an underground city based on being on the coast and so much flooding that I literally put up posts and built I'm like these new sidewalks and everything above ground, and everything's underground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then speaking of, as we're talking about, we mentioned Elon Musk already. He's the one that wanted to come into Chicago and build like a hyperloop, or a hyper train that goes from O'Hare to downtown. That's supposed to get you there in like 5 minutes or something.
That'd be sweet.
Which usually that train ride with all the stops takes 50 to 55, which you'd like, yeah, that's unbearable. But yeah, he wants to build it, and people are like, why? Like, why do we need this train? And maybe it's more of where we're talking about, like more of this underground stuff that like if we're already going to be building something underground, like let's build something else. Like there could be more theories attached to that as well.
So Adam, based on what's this edge thing you keep talking about?
What thing?
Like you mentioned something edge, or like where there's smoke there's fire, where there's fire, yeah, there's smoke there's fire, but you're like your basis for your reason. The simplest answer equals.
Yeah, it's just throughout all this research, they're like, oh well, there's all these tunnels. Well, it just didn't work. Or there's artwork because I'm not a drug guy. I don't do drugs, but it seems like people who do are very artistic. Not saying you're very artistic too. You don't. I'm assuming you're not a drug guy either. But it seems like in Denver, people are free spirited, which is great. But they're using art as like a what's the word? Like not a cover up, well, kind of a cover up. Like, hey, we're gonna build this huge Mustang outside with these laser beam eyes. We're gonna put these pictures in here of like a New World Order, if you believe in that, which I'm starting to. But they're covering up as, oh, we're just a free spirit city. No.
You're not buying it, huh?
No, nope. Not enough crypto in the world for me to buy that.
Oh wow. So now are you gonna go then, and is your short walk of conclusion, does that take you to that it's not necessarily the United States government cover up, but it really is secret society driven and based on whether it's secret societies, New World Order, like it's a global thing, but is brought down into the center point based on what's going on in Denver.
Yeah, I don't think it's just us. I think it's everybody. It's everybody who's got money. So.
Oh, there you go. Everybody who's got money.
Yeah.
Money talks.
I think it is weird with that Mustang. I mean, to have like glowing red eyes. I mean, like you can put a statue out there. I mean, there's the Denver Broncos, right? I mean, that's their football team. They're like, here's a Bronco, but with glowing red eyes.
What is that all about?
Like that just seems to me like it's like a nod to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I mean,
right.
Well,
there's something that like you're like, oh, like I mean that seems weird.
And why did the artist die?
Yeah.
I mean, so in the quick article that I read, it said that as the sculptor was working on the blue Mustang, that the Mustang ended up killing him.
Yeah.
Did the Mustang really? An inanimate object reached out and touched someone in a lethal way.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs. Yeah. No, I've been on the record publicly here. Weed's legal, and in Illinois and stuff like that. But I mean, like I've even heard from people that I respect that dropping LSD is like a life-changing, spiritual changing experience. No, not so much. I mean, and so cocaine, that's too small of like everybody I've heard. It's so expensive for the amount of time that you get the,
The
buzz,
high, right?
you know. I've seen enough movies about airplane pilots using cocaine to get straight to be able to drive, fly an airplane that
Right.
I'm like, yeah, this doesn't even make
No,
sense.
no, I don't want to see my pilot in that light.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah, but yeah, it's
how about you, Phil? What is all this information? Where does it lead you?
because to me, I mean, like, and because we spent a little bit of time talking about conspiracy theories, right? I mean, and there's reasons why people would embrace them more or less,
There's
right?
a psychological
There's some
impact.
psychological things, but it doesn't. It's not for like it because some people think that only the uneducated would be feeding into conspiracy theories, and that's actually not psychologically everything. Now there are some uneducated people that are saying they don't have the resources to be able to check their sources and all of that, but it doesn't mean that every single person who believe. But what I get into with a lot of this is that again, to me, it's a lot of there's a lot of things that don't make sense and that they aren't trying to clear up. Now, you could say they're not trying to clear it up because there actually is something underneath it, or they're not trying to clear it up because they kind of like this, like we're kind of mysterious and there's actually no truth. I mean, but if there wasn't any truth and they're like, okay, but we still want to be known for this, and it's like, yeah, so there's still something to it that if you're not clearing it up and if you're not, you don't want to talk about it, and they're like, oh, you're reading into this or reading into that, like, yeah, there's too much here to say that there's nothing for me, and that's where I'm getting to. I mean, when I even started looking at it, at a lot of it is, um, I mean, yeah, and with any conspiracy theory, we're going to take some of these threads of truth, and then we're also piecing it together and saying this could be a conclusion. Now, we have some pieces that are missing that we can't definitively say, like, this is the truth. But what we can say is, like, this is pointing us in a direction, and that, yes, we are hypothesizing and coming up with our conclusion. We're not saying it's the truth, but what we are saying is that there is a direction. And
Huh.
and so what I'm saying, like, that's what I'm hearing is with a lot of these pieces, there is a direction, and we can say, so tell me why this is the wrong direction then.
Yeah.
And so if this is disinformation, then tell me where it's wrong. But nobody wants, like they're not going to talk about it. So how do we know?
Well, and that gets us into the difficulty of our, secret societies. That I mean, it's the secrets.
Yeah, I noticed that they threw in the lizard people in here.
Did you see that article, the lizard people? I did read an article in there in regards to the like when you're talking about the five buildings underground, that it's actually the national headquarters or the world headquarters for the Illuminati.
Mhm.
I mean,
I believe it.
all right. Well, that was a short leap there.
Done.
Makes one of us, I guess.
Well, and what I'd really like to do is take time and go even further. What I'd like to do is I'd like to find out how many UFO sightings happen within a 50-mile, 100-mile radius of the Denver airport. Because what I'm really wondering about is there an airport below the airport for these super aircraft that have not been published to the United States public people, and that they just, come down, hover, and then boop, they're taken into the underground part of what's going on. We already know about Area 51 in Nevada. And we also know that the idea of creating an imagery against like a mountain range and stuff like that, it can look like it's mountains, but that doesn't mean that they're mountains, and like aircraft going in, coming out, and stuff like that. And quite frankly, I go into another place that if I can imagine it, somebody smarter than me has already figured it out, like, and how they're gonna like hide all this information. So I think it's really interesting in the current culture where people are so bent on the statues around the United States that are like the Civil War statues, and these were tyrants and all of this other stuff. How in the hell do we have an international airport with Nazi symbolization on it, and it like and that's still okay in the U.S. I don't get that part, and then when we see, I think another interesting thing is there was a lot of neo-Nazi organization that had been undercover for a long time, but hey, and I'm sorry everybody if this totally hacks you off that I'm gonna like call out the Trump presidency in regards to. I'm sorry, but the reality is that he elevated groups that were anti. What is that? What were they anti? They're discrimination groups.
Oh yeah, and white nationalists.
White nationalists. There you go. That's what I'm looking for. Let's put the blame on with where it's at. Yeah. And like how in the world is it okay at an airport for their this Nazism? I mean, we don't embrace Adolf Hitler. Hold it. Let me put this for the record. Hey, by the way, Phil and Adam, I'm not for what Hitler did.
I disavow all of that as well.
Right. Oh, I concur.
Yeah, yeah. And then then you get into the conspiracy theories, flat Earth versus round Earth, and there are people, we've talked about this during our conspiracy episode. There are people who believe that Adolf Hitler never killed all the Jews.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know how it all fits together. I don't know how it ends up being what it is and stuff like that. But man, that Denver airport though.
Yeah, it looks like I just came across this quote from the. I was trying to see what date is this. That was a 20. Oh, it was updated in 2020. But one of their CEOs, they were asked about it. Kim Day, who really embraces conspiracy ideas.
Nice.
We decided a few years ago that rather than fight all of this and try to convince everybody there's nothing really going on, let's have some fun with it. So
that's cover up, sorry.
Right. So that already is like, so we're not going to talk about what's real, but we're going to continue to feed you. Like, it's almost like the CIA with the alien documentation. That they released, these pieces, but they released that one in mass, like 25,000 different pages, some of it redacted, some of it, but it released so much at once that it's really hard to like pour through it. And it's almost like this, like, hey, we're going to give you a little bit, and then you can decide, is it real? Is it fake? And so are you going to release something that's actually real, and then you're just going to be like, oh yeah, but that's a continuation of this conspiracy theory? Like, you can like, there's something.
I think this is life lessons.
Yeah.
When in doubt, play along. Somebody accuses you of something. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it might have been. I could have done something else.
Yeah. So like the New World Order and the Illuminati, I'm assuming, because most of the time Illuminati is tied in with the New World Order anyways, right? So the Illuminati would be the heads of secret societies, people who are pulling strings behind, the curtains. And yeah, so if you're like, all of this is tied, there's all of that that's here.
So what was amazing, and I had the privilege at my uncle's funeral to be invited over to my cousin Kendra's house,
Mhm.
and she showed me her library, and in her library she has my grandfather's Freemason sword.
Mm,
And
Wow.
we had talked about this, that
we did.
in regards to, I mean, he wasn't just somebody who showed up on club night. I mean, this guy was like up in the order in regards to this. And so you know what, I wish I knew the secrets. I wish I knew the secrets.
Yeah. I mean, and it's really hard to know the secrets, right? I mean, there are some people who have said, "Hey, I'm no longer a part of this, but I was. Here's some of the secrets that I knew." I mean,
Speaking of secrets, through my research, I found this one lady actually got down to the tunnels. She reported to one of her friends. She went back. What was it? Something along the lines of she was down there. She came back. She went back with one of her friends. One of her friends committed suicide, or I need to be politically correct. I didn't mean that. Shoot, not killed herself. Sorry. And I'm thinking, like, what did you see down there? Who is threatening you? What do you know?
Yeah, I still think that it was no accident that the artist
Right?
who put together the sculpture died.
mhm,
Yeah. Yes.
It's no accident.
right. I don't know. And then there's um, they had that they said, along with the Freemasons thing, they were talking about that there's a plaque or a dedication, um, dated March 19th, 1994, contains a time capsule, and I think that there was it's supposed to be opened in 2094. So is there something that's also direct, like, why did they pick 2094? Other than, I mean, that's what, um,
It's 100 years
100
later.
years later.
Yeah.
Um,
And Adam, they didn't get a hold of you to write a letter for the cornerstone. I mean, like, they didn't ask you.
Shameful behavior
Yeah.
or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Some were saying, have you ever heard of Area 52? Probably not. That could be the place.
hmm. So Area 52, is that's more than that, that's would be like more alien things, right?
I
No,
hope so.
no, I think it's a play on Area 51,
Hmm.
right?
Well,
I
Yeah,
don't know.
Area 51 is the area
right.
in Lincoln County, Nevada.
Hmm.
So if you're talking about Area 52, that they're like, that's a continuation. Whoever I
Right.
This is the first time I've ever heard of Area 52.
I haven't heard of 52 either. I've heard of 51. I mean, there was the people who were going to storm Area 51, even though it's a government facility, and that they're like, the government wasn't going to allow them to storm Area 51.
Huh.
Another point that I just saw here. They talked about the coordinates for it, and I'm not going to read the numbers, but it says these coordinates given to the humans by the aliens in Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind take you to DIA, Denver International Airport.
Wow.
Guys,
Yeah, and there's another thing out there with Area 52, that actually Area 52 is Nevada's other secret base. Um, but Area 52 Bronco then, no, it just comes up with actual Broncos. Bronco Sport 2021.
Mm.
Huh. This is fascinating. I would like more information. I would like more secrets to be non-secretive.
I second that.
All right.
Mm-hmm. So are they saying then the bunkers are like actually they did away with them, or I mean, are they still saying that they're still there? Like, I mean, it,
They didn't pour concrete over them.
right.
Yeah, I think they're still there.
They're still there.
But they also don't allow people just to walk through there.
No.
That among many other things is just like let's something's wrong with your car. You're gonna fix your car because your car is, well, it's a depreciating asset, but it still gets you to and from. If you're building all these tunnels, it's gonna help quicken the process because no one likes to spend a lot of time at an airport. Why not fix it? You spend just
Mm-hmm.
a lot of whys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and based on the pinwheel approach to the swastika symbol, it would make sense that you would want like the luggage from an airplane to be able to go down and then pop up at wherever you're walking out with your carrier, as far as, luggage and stuff like that. It's all automated anyway.
Right.
Yeah. How do humans have the ability to be able to carry so much luggage that they have to evenly distribute it among the planes so that the plane can fly correctly? I mean, really, folks? Do you need to take that much with you?
Mm-hmm. Right.
The other day I was flying back and they're like, hey, if you've got a carry-on that we could throw into storage, that will really help us out so we could evenly distribute all the weight. I'm like, well, is Tubby sitting back behind me or what's going on? I'm like, and how do you know where Tubby is? And like, do they have all of our weight and stuff like that so they know how humans are being distributed, and all this stuff? I thought these planes had really big engines and they could just fly.
Yeah. I remember going on a puddle jumper like 20 years ago and they were asking for your weight. Like, I mean, at that point, I'm like, I don't remember jumping on a scale last time. I mean, I didn't go to the doctor very often. So I'm like, I haven't jumped on it. They're like, well, your best guesstimate. And I'm like, so, but if I'm off, is this going to be a bad thing? Like, I mean,
human error, right? Yeah. All of a sudden,
it gets in the science of
taking the whole
keeping
thing
these
down.
things up.
Yeah. When I was training, before we moved, I was training to get my private pilot's license. And actually in the hangar, they have like bags of weight. I don't know what's in them, but it's just like, hey, like if you look similar, like you were talking about a puddle jumper, if you look similar weight, you're fine. But if there was like a big instructor, because there was a bigger instructor, he would get weight to like put behind his passenger in like this big bag to even out the weight.
Whoa. So are you very far from getting your pilot's license?
No, not even close.
Oh, you're not.
When we moved, circumstances change, but I'd like to at some point, but life's busy and it takes a lot of time and
yeah,
not cheap, that's for sure. But
no, especially when you're committed to crypto.
I mean, how am I going to spend? I'm going to spend $100 a month on this license when I could spend $400 a month on crypto. Why not?
Right. I mean, it's the law of continuing return, not diminishing.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, you got anything else for us, Phil, on this whole point of the Denver airport?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fascinating. I mean, with so much. I mean, I've never heard of like a single airport having this many, issues that have been at question.
Yeah,
I've never seen one. I mean, but that's it. But it to me, it's just it's fascinating stuff to be able to dig into. So
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate you bringing it up, Adam. And if there's other things that you find out about Denver, let us know.
Will do. Yeah. Hey, call your mayor, call your council people, call anybody, and tell them, hey, we need to get to the bottom of this.
Mhm.
It's a big deal.
Right. Congress
It's
can
true.
break through on this.
Yes, they can.
Hey, and so we're going to plan on season 1 of 2022. We're going to get you online and we're going to do an episode all things beer, okay?
That's right.
Done.
All right. All right.
We'll
Well, that
talk
sounds
beer.
good, man. Thank you so much for joining us today. And for those who are joining late, I'd say, hey, hit the rewind button, get back there, and you're going to find out what Adam has discovered about the Denver airport.
That's right.
DIA, Denver International.
DIA. So much.
All right.
So much to dig into.
All right.
Like this could be an episode of like Curse of Oak Island continuation.
Yeah.
Man, they're getting close to the money right now.
I know.
Yeah.
Finding Bigfoot, they never find him in 8 seasons.
I'm telling you what, they're getting close. I mean, no, they really are. They're getting close.
Yeah.
We're gonna find something out.
It's getting there.
I don't know why they just didn't roll some big machinery in there and just start digging. You know.
Right.
Oh well.
It's true.
All about the story. They're like, if we can do this for the next 18 years, those guys don't have to worry about it. They've made their millions doing a lot of other stuff. So
they did. Yeah.
All right, Adam.
Everybody.
Enjoy the rest of your day off.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
All right.
We'll look forward to having you back on.
Awesome.
All right. Cool.
Alrighty.
All right.
See you guys.
Bye.
See you. Bye. All right. View gallery.
All right, Phil. Can you believe that? We had our first conversation in regards to the Denver International Airport.
That's right.
So if you're going to boil that down, there's another thing that I need to do. I think some people who support the Trump presidency, I think how they would respond to me is that they would say they would rather have him overtly be what he is in regards to his neo-Nazi or the white supremacy move. That's one thing.
Right.
Than President Biden that you don't know anything about. And is President Biden a part of the New World Order and all of those things going on?
Well, I think that there's a lot that said, I mean, I remember, whenever white nationalism was brought up, and we had a whole show on white nationalism, but but when it was brought up in the Trump presidency, that they would always say like, no, he's denounced them, and it's like, but why do you think it's on a rise during his presidency? Why do you, I mean, like, you can say, yeah, like, there were a couple of things that they show every once in a while. He's like, yeah, I'm against, these fringe groups and these, but, like, but they still feel embraced by you. Why?
Yeah. I think the thing historically that goes through my mind, and this is just within the context of my living experience, is when he, on the air, told the Proud Boys to stand down.
And stand by.
And it seemed like he was giving direct orders. And, and so that was concerning to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they also then adopted that as a saying for these, white nationalists.
Yeah.
Which then brings us to the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, which we're going to be getting a verdict on pretty soon. I mean, the jury's in deliberation, but he had some pictures. I think he was 17 at the time or something when he came into Kenosha. and shot, 3 people,
Yeah.
murdered 2 of them. And so what like there were pictures and photos of him like in a bar, number one, not 21, but apparently other bars were embracing that, his perspective, and he was giving these proud boy white nationalist signs. They have pictures of it. Like, I mean, so there's something that's also incorporating this stuff. Like, you're like, but none of that, was all inadmissible apparently in his court case. So, but what are we talking? Like, why is this being embraced more um, lately, like within the last 5 years or so? And why should it be on the rise? So lots of
Yeah.
questions for me on that.
I think that when we get into, I think we're back to square in regards to nationalism.
Hmm.
And 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 for anybody who's hung out long enough to get to where we are right now, um, what I would just say is, do, what's within you about how you should treat other people, and like, should we be a protective state? And there's lots of, it's such a big topic. I mean,
Hmm.
and so I don't know that it's about race. I think some people take it there.
Hmm.
Um, but supremacy and nationalism,
Hmm.
and how is the United States superior, and what do we have to do to be able to protect ourselves so that we can be superior? Um, I don't know. When I look at the Sermon on the Mount, I think Jesus talked it upside down,
Right.
and so, and that's not a convenient answer for me. Actually, I would say the second set of scripture. I'm a fan of 2 Corinthians chapter 4. It's a cohesive piece of scriptures in my life that have just really catalytically changed my life. And
Hmm.
Earth and Warehouse was sourced out of that. Um, and then, man, that Sermon on the Mount, that's good teaching.
Right.
You
I
know,
mean, and then
just
he really does flip the tables on power structures.
yeah, and how you're supposed to. It's Jesus put into words how to see through his lens.
Yeah.
And you've heard it said, but,
Hmm.
and then he takes these things, and he just brings all these things, into the whole. I and again, as far as I know, we got a little dicey in there in regards to, but it just seems like, man, if you're going to have Holocaust, Nazi imagery, and things like that in public forum, I mean, like, I just don't get it.
Hmm.
I would just ask somebody, like, well, there's freedom of speech, and your freedom of expression, and I'm like, but why? Why propagate something that stood for the elimination of the Jewish nation?
Hmm.
And I would say,
Which, not even just the Jewish nation. I mean, even Nazism was elimination of the weak. So it
yeah,
was. I mean, they would find people of color there, but there wasn't a whole lot of that. But they also eliminated people with handicap,
yeah,
any disability. Like, that meant that you weren't strong enough,
yeah,
and they needed to eliminate. I mean, so you're looking at like not just this, and I'm not trying to discount the Jewish people, but it's like a whole bunch of this, but it's also, um, people with disability. I mean, they would either test on them or end up trying to eliminate them somehow.
yeah,
And so there's a whole bunch that's in Nazism that is troubling, and not just this. It's this incorporation of like this understanding of some kind of pure race. I mean, even I've heard these people mention like that they believe that Jesus was white. And that's how I'm like, but that makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
Like when you're looking at where Jesus was Jewish and he was born in the Middle East. I mean, like, and somehow in your delusional brain, you're still believing that Jesus was white. Like somehow God dropped a white dude in the middle of the Middle East, and you believe that this is how are you even putting this together?
Well, they're doing it genetically because they believe that the Holy Spirit's a white male. That's how they're doing it. I mean, like they'd be like, well, I mean, Mary was a virgin, and she was a Jew living in the Middle East, but the Holy Spirit's white. That's how they're making the leap to blue-eyed, fair-haired, fair-skinned Jesus.
It's such a crock.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's just so. I mean, it's so bad. I mean, just a bad perspective on all things there, and I mean, how far do you have to be gone and indoctrinated to start to drink their Kool-Aid?
Well, I think Adam brought up a really good point in regards to the Denver International Airport, and that is he very easily got to the point of, if this was the end of the world, would they let me live in the bunkers?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no.
Right.
Because he's not from the social elite.
Mm-hmm.
He's not from the old money. And he's not in a secret society that he's telling us about.
Right. That we know about.
Yeah. And so, in that framework, I think that, it's a really short trip. For those of you who have heard us talk about it, Phil and I, this is for the record and the truth, we're not a part of a secret society. We'd like to build one.
But that's a secret.
Hey, so thank you so much for listening. We're working again, working toward making the time manageable of what you can listen to. Hopefully Adam's new voice is a good listen, and that you got to enjoy being able to hear his take on his ruminations of the Denver International Airport. Phil,
we'll have Adam back.
Yeah, well,
that'll be a promise.
Yep. We're going to talk all things beer in 2022. But just want you to really enjoy this episode this week, and know that as you're hearing this on Sunday evening, that what you get is you get a dose of happy holidays.
That's right. Happy holidays are upon us.
Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving, grateful hearts, and realizing that it is no joke that we do really live in a place where life can be enjoyed,
and that we can ask these questions.
Yeah,
because there's places that you can't ask questions like these.
Yeah, there, and really even the tough stuff. I mean, that's the cool thing about being around family, is because all of the opinions are different, and you just end up having to say, all right, where's this going and how does this work?
Right.
Yep.
All right. Hopefully everybody enjoys that. Have a great Thanksgiving. Wait, are we still? No. Yeah.
That's right.
This is for next. No, this is for this week though.
This is for Sunday.
Yeah.
And
then enjoy Thanksgiving.
Sunday. Yep. Right. See, you're having trouble with your time travel.
I am.
Yeah. So when they listen to this, Thanksgiving will be on Thursday.
Okay.
Our next episode, we're going to be coming out of the dark from Black Friday.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. Now that we got that straight,
we got everything settled in the time travel.
How straight are you? All right. Goodbye.